Hello, hello. Okay, so drive and talk with the LogiKIT, the converted Logitech pedals. And what we have now is the potentiometers in all the pedals have been upgraded with magnetic sensors for the throttle and the clutch, and a load cell brake, a proper load cell brake with a 30 kilogram load cell. In addition, a couple of things that are worth knowing is the tension on all the pedals have also been upgraded as well. So we have, along with the springs, the original springs, we get some elastomer tension behind those pedals. So it does change the texture of the pedals, much nicer, much more engaging, much more realistic, to be absolutely honest about it. Also, there is now a simulated clutch mechanism. So it's no longer just that kind of basic spring tension. There is a feel, digressive clutch feel. So that's kind of nice as well. So 3DRAP have gone, have gone all out on this mod. I need to change the gear there, and I have to say it's they're working actually very nicely. So note this is just an early impressions video, not a full review. A full detailed review will come up. So we'll have a good look around everything that comes with the kits, and also around the pedals. But if you want to find out a little bit more, if you haven't actually watched my unboxing video, there's a fair bit of detail there to begin with anyway, so check that out. There's a link in the description. But yeah, I'm kind of liking these. It's got a nice feel. They're actually quite realistically feeling, the pedals. They, in as much as they sort of feel very much like my road car pedals, the texture and resistance of the pedals have a very similar feel to those. Which is kind of nice, so it's very familiar, very comfortable. And something I mentioned in my unboxing, a couple of observations, is I noticed that the throttle pedal seemed really short travel, and I kind of realised what I could do is, having watched their installation video of the LogiKIT, you get these little spacer rings and you stack them up to change the throw of the pedal, which of course you can't see because it's all hidden behind those sort of piston-like shrouds of the sort of behind the pedal. So yeah, you can't see it, but because 3DRAP sent me this pedal set completely pre-assembled for my review on loan, I didn't have a full notion of all the sort of like working parts of the pedals. So after I ran my unboxing, I sat down and watched their installation video, and I have to say you should watch that if you're interested in this mod, because it's about 18 minutes long, but it shows you a very nice detailed video on how to install all the parts on all the pedals. So not only do you see how everything gets put together, you can also get an idea of all the materials and all the sort of changes you're making. So yeah, useful video and very well done. So 3DRAP have got good information there, which certainly if you're going to be building your pedals with this mod, you'll need that information, since in the kit there's a lot of parts, and you know, without the running through the guide, you're not going to have any notion on how to put it together. But one thing I do also, I gathered from the installation video, it's very easy. The process is just basically, obviously removing the pedals from your pedal deck, the original one, and then just basically slotting bits in, screwing things together, just basic tools. There's no soldering. Everything is basically plug and play into the pedal frames. So the actual process is potentially a little bit lengthy, maybe an hour or two if you're taking care with it, but nothing difficult, nothing, not something anyone, I think anyone could do it. I don't think it's really a big deal on the process. But yeah, it's a night and day difference between the original pedals. The upgrades are significant, less so I guess with the throttle and the clutch, because technically the function is about the same, but they do feel a lot nicer, there's a lot more texture to it, and I like the feel of those pedals, less kind of boring like the original spring tension ones, which are simply basic. So I like that. That's a nice upgrade. Of course, you do get magnetic sensors as well, which are better than potentiometers for durability. Magnetic sensors don't wear out in the same way that potentiometers can, and won't pick up dirt and kind of get twitchy and kind of mess up. So you're certainly going to have a better lifespan with magnetic sensors. Ultimately, probably as long as you live, I expect. you know, technically, because they are non-contact. For the load cell, it's a 40 kilogram. Is it 40 or 30? I'll pop it on screen. I think it actually may be 30 kilogram. Yeah, it's 30 kilogram load cell from memory now, which isn't particularly high weight. It's not like a high capacity load cell. For reference, I think let me just, you know, go through my brain box. I think say for the CSL pedals, the load cell is 60 kilograms, if I'm right. The Moser SRP pedals, that brake has a 75 kilogram load cell. And Thrustmaster TLCM, they rate their load cell 100 kilos, but I don't think that's actually true, because I've tried it 100% and you simply can't push it down. It kind of stops, you know, it doesn't let you go to 100 kilograms. So, but it's still a pretty high capacity load cell on that one. But ultimately, yeah, this is a light capacity one. So what that means as far as this brake goes is, you know, with a load cell, I'm sure well, hopefully you know this, with a load cell brake, it's weighing the foot pressure, and the maximum amount of force I can apply would be that 30 kilograms. And in the software, you adjust the braking force tension. So you could adjust it, say if I had a 100 kilogram load cell, I could adjust it so I'd have to put 100 kilograms to get 100% braking, or I could lower that threshold and make it say 80 kilograms or 50 kilograms. So you know, that's how you kind of adjust a load cell brake. On this one, you want to leave it 100%, because 30 kilos may sound like a decent amount of weight, but it's not loads, because obviously bear in mind there's some leverage over that load cell as well, so that's going to change actually how much weight you're pushing into the pedal realistically. But I have to say it's absolutely fine. I actually found out the gate when I first used these pedals, I found that brake very comfortable. It was very easy to use. There was no learning curve for me to get used to it. I got out on track and I was braking with really good control. So I was hitting my braking points, the thresholds, and you know, and light braking. It's all very natural. It's very easy. So I have to say I was kind of impressed actually how easy it was to get used to these pedals, since it was simply immediately, as soon as I started using them, I had no problems with them. They were just absolutely, you know, felt like they were zeroed in for me. So that's good. Because the load cell is 30 kilograms, this is a pedal set I'd rather wear socks rather than shoes. With some pedal sets I can use shoes, because if they have stronger resistance, you know, you don't lose that sensitivity, because you're, you know, having to push hard into those pedals, particularly the brake. But 30 kilograms is it's not a ton, and you don't want to, you know, you want as much sensitivity as possible. And I think, you know, socks is best to run these pedals. That's my preference. But I'd say it's working okay. It's not bad for, you know, load cell. I'm finding it very easy to use. You can see I am actually operating the car pretty well here, and considering when I do run these drive and talks, my concentration is so much on the talking and not the driving, that my driving is always going to take a hit. It's never great, I admit that. And if the hardware is decent, then I find that a lot easier to run these drive and talks, because the hardware, you know, is doing its thing, and I don't really have to work too hard on my, you know, on operating, you know, operating it, because it's doing a good job, and these are doing a very nice job. So I'm really liking the brake. You know, that's the kind of the big feature of, obviously, of this upgrade, and I certainly feel like I've got a lot more control. And I like it. I feel like I'm, you know, I can nail every sort of corner exactly how I need it to do, you know, how I need to with the braking. So it's nice and sensitive. So yeah, I'm really happy with the operation of these pedals. A lot better than you might expect them to be fair. And probably a big, you know, I'd say, yeah, I have to say I had a preconception when before these arrived that, you know, they might not be up to much, but I have to say it is a big deal. It is a big upgrade. Now, whether or not it's worth your time and effort rather than just buying another pedal set, I guess that's something you may have to decide. But something that's worth mentioning, I guess, is you can see I am actually running these pedals with a Fanatec wheelbase. And one of the features of the LogiKIT is they are now standalone. However, I can also plug these back into my Logitech wheelbase, directly back into the wheelbase. So they can work on console, as with consoles you need those pedals to plug into your wheelbase. And these still remain console compatible. So now I have two options here. I can plug these pedals into my G923 or any other obviously Logitech wheelbase of that range, the 29, the 920, 27, 25 of course. However, I can also plug these directly into my PC. So if I were to upgrade my wheelbase, for instance, or you were to upgrade your wheelbase, you can you can keep these pedals, and they'll still be fine, and you can just change out the wheelbase as long as you're on PC, of course, because as I said, look, with console, those pedals need to plug into the wheelbase. But it's kind of good that the fact is they are now, it does add an extra bit of versatility to the pedals. They are standalone, or they are still compatible with the Logitech wheelbase that they came from. So that's kind of good to know as well. We'll cover that more in detail in the review, of course. I feel like I'm going a little bit off track actually, or not technically off track here, but off the subject of sort of early impressions. But yeah, these are functioning really well. I'd say really no complaints. There is one thing I need to tell you though, but I think this is fair. I did almost forget this, is the so 3DRAP sent me this pre-assembled pedal set. They also sent me a LogiKIT, the complete LogiKIT in a box, which is really handy to have, so I can show you the components. But more importantly, actually what I found was the clutch mechanism. There's a piece that snapped off on mine when they, not quite when they arrived, but when I was fitting them to my pedal deck. When I was going to get in a position on the pedals to try and get them in a, to get the right distance, etc. I was just pressing on the pedals as you would, just to see if they feel natural, and the piece snapped off it, which made the clutch basically inoperable. And potentially, it could have been the fact that the pedals, in the box that the pedals came in, there's a couple of other boxes which were knocking around, and they could have taken a bit of a hit, they could have taken a bit of damage, that clutch piece during transit, and therefore weakened it. And when I started using the pedals, when I mounted them, because in the unboxing you can see me using that clutch pedal on my table, I'm pushing into it, it looks fine, but yeah, as soon as I mounted them and started using that clutch, piece snapped off. I was able to fix that because I had that separate LogiKIT that they sent me, the full kit. It took me 5 minutes to replace the piece, and it's working again. But it does make me wonder, actually, the piece that broke. I'll bring up a picture. I'll show you the piece that snapped off. It's possibly a weak part, or a weakish part in the assembly. Everything else I think is quite durable here. I don't think there's going to be any problems with anything else. I think everything else is fine, like the load cell, the throttle, and everything else about the clutch, other this one little element, this 3D printed piece. Because I'm wondering, because it is a piece which will be under tension when you press into the pedal, and when you're heel and toeing, there is a tendency, or at least I have a tendency, and I think possibly most people do as well, is you sort of like slam into the clutch pedal, because you're kind of operating the clutch pedal quite quickly when you're heel and toe shifting, manual shifting. You probably pushing it, with a little bit more force than normal, and I'm wondering that could it be a piece that after time it could sort of snap again. So I don't know. I guess I'm not going to find out unless it happens during my testing for my review. We'll know then, but my review is not going to be a long-term test. It's going to be a review after running in a few games over a couple of weeks, and just seeing how they run over that sort of period of time. So of course, if you want a long-term review, then I'd have to use them for a year before I put a review out, which obviously is not going to happen. It's unrealistic. So my review is going to be after about a couple of weeks of testing, and we'll see how we get on, and hopefully that piece is okay over that duration. I expect it will be, but it's something for 3DRAP to keep an eye on. But I guess if it's something that does break for other users, then 3DRAP will be aware of it, and they will be able to maybe look into it and see how they could change it a little bit, maybe make it a little bit more robust. But yeah, it's hard to know at this point whether or not I was just unlucky, or if it is a fragile piece. But yeah, we'll see, guys. But overall, I'm liking these pedals. They're actually very comfortable to use, functionally very good. So Yeah, I have to say, so far so good. I'm liking it. As an early impression, using these pedals, actually pretty nice. So there you go. That's it for this drive and talk. Probably went on a bit long on that one, so sorry if I sort of rambled on a bit. But you know, these sort of things are sort of going to be a little bit random. But anyway, I hope you got some useful information out of it. As I said, check out the unboxing, and if you keep an eye on the description, I'll post the review link when that's out. So always keep looking whenever I publish videos. If there's related videos, I always add extra bits to the video description so you can find out if there's more related videos. I do it on all my videos, so just as a point of reference, it's useful to know. You'll find some kind of things linked to other related content when I make my videos. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, happy simming and bye bye for now.